Hey everybody, we're live here. Getting the jitters out here. Backstage. We call it backstage. We're happy to have you here. Thank you everybody that is in the chat already checking us out. We appreciate it. This is our first session of Call of Cthulhu, Beneath the Umbral Veil, as we are calling it. So we're going to go through and we're going to teach you all about, we're going to talk to you all about our characters and go from there. But first, let's get through some housekeeping stuff, which would be, this is FeatherFall Tabletop, and we do have some sponsors. One of them would be Found Familiar Coffee. They are great members of the community, always reaching out to artists, getting their work on these bags of coffee, getting them out there and promoting them. And actually paying artists for their work, which is always a good thing. So if you want to save 10% on that order of coffee, use the link down below. There is code FeatherFall at checkout. It's going to get you 10% off that. We also have longtime sponsor of the program here. That's Skull Splitter Dice. Any dice you need, they probably got. They're putting out beginner's guides for D&D 5e all the time. New videos down there. Going through and dissecting some of the lore, how to build characters, all that good stuff. But on top of that, they have really good metal dice. If you haven't rolled with metal dice, you probably should sometime soon because you're not going to go back. So check them out. Link down below. Again, use code FeatherFall at checkout to get yourself 10% off. We are also in the Roll20 Spotlight program for this homebrew playthrough of Call of Cthulhu. So thank them for gifting us the starter set and the Investigator's Handbook in Roll20. So they are sponsoring that. Roll20.net. This is how we roll. So check them out for all of your virtual tabletop needs, which kind of everybody's doing right now. So it's a good place to start. We got a couple more housekeeping things here. Upcoming games. Wednesday, August 26th. We will be back with our Homebrew Wildmount campaign, Beyond Amends. Stuff's kind of hitting the fan there. The party's getting run out of town. They don't know what's going on, but we'll see what happens. Discord. You can check the link down below if you want to join us in have the ability to join us in these new campaigns that are coming up, or if you want to play in the community one-shot that aired last night. Typo, you were there. Cranky was there. So if you want to get in those games, the Discord link is down below. Check that out. We share a lot of memes and just kind of, hang out and have a good time. So check us out down there. I have a fancy schedule card I'm going to throw up on screen here. Oh man, look at that. Here's the schedule for our games. We kind of got organized a little bit. Monday, you're going to either have Star Wars or the previously said community one-shots. Those alternate. Here, filling the Tuesday slot, you will have this Call of Cthulhu, Beneath the Umbral Veil. Wednesdays, you're going to have our Wild Mount, which is a 5e campaign. Every other Saturday, you're going to have the Gateway Wars, which is a homebrew 5e campaign with a very own Harvey Barrel. And then Sundays, every other Sunday, you're going to have Curse of Strahd 5e. We're about halfway, I don't want to say a percentage. You're a ways in. Stuff's picking up there. So you can check us out. We're all over the place there. But that is our schedule. We did get a couple new followers off stream, which is kind of cool. So we'll throw out some thanks to them. Elena Sketches, The Dragon Queen Games, and CFTRPG. Thank you for the follow. We appreciate it. And since we did start the stream, Flesh, thanks for the sub. Appreciate it. And then Lovely Yeti 0312, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it greatly. Speaking of that, like following this channel, if you're here watching us and you're already enjoying yourself, so go ahead and hit that follow button. If you are watching or listening on YouTube or podcast land, come join us live on these days and hit that follow button. We are working to become Twitch partner. It's a grind. It's an uphill battle, but we'd love to get there. We are 274 followers away from 1,000. So that's kind of the most immediate goal that we want to hit, is getting us to that 1,000. As soon as we get there, we do have a giveaway lined up. So if you'd like to, be in on that giveaway and help us out, hit that follow button, and we'd appreciate it greatly. Just a reminder for you, those of you in chat, we have some channel points that you can use. You can spend 1,500 channel points to add a D4 to a roll. I'm going to say for Call of Cthulhu, we'll make that a D10 because this is a percentage game. So D4 is not going to get you a whole lot, where a D10 is going to help you out a little bit more. So that 1,500 points will get you a D10 added to the roll. For 2,500 points, you can have any player re-roll, so giving them advantage. And let's say you had advantage, you get a re-roll advantage again. So it's kind of, big time. For 3,000 points, you can give that player said advantage. And for 5,000 points, you can name an NPC in the campaign. Obviously appropriately named. Got through the housekeeping. Here we are. Y'all ready?
Indeed.
Mm-hmm. All right. So like I said, this is session 0. So we are going to, there's going to be some role playing involved, but we're going to get to know these investigators on a personal level. We're going to kind of see who they are, get to know them, because we want to see them slowly. We want to know where they started before they went insane. So, like I said, this is a weekly show for FeatherFall Tabletop, Tuesdays, 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. We are using the Call of Cthulhu 7th edition, just so we're all on the same page. This is kind of I'll throw this out there. This is a fairly new system to me, and the lore is fairly new to me. So, take it easy in chat. We will do our best. It's going to be rules light for a while, and we'll kind of, build as we go. So just make sure that, we're taking it easy. I should say, let me throw up another thing in the, I should say to shout out to Cousin Lit. You can find this artist on Twitter at lit_cousin. They did the artwork for our characters for this campaign. You'll see got the scroll going on stream there. Great stuff. I don't know what to say other than I really appreciate the hard work that they put into these character drawings and the feedback.
Find them in our Discord.
And you can find them in our Discord, always posting stuff in the shameless promotion, sharing their work all the time. Super excited with the artwork that came out. So give them a follow on Twitch or Twitter. Talk to them in the Discord. Good stuff. So next, I thought I was done with housekeeping, but I had a whole list here. I did say this was homebrew, but we are starting with the module Edge of Darkness. So those of you that have played through it or seen it played through, you're kind of been here before. But we are taking some liberties to weave in some homebrew things, so it could be a little bit different than any playthrough you've seen before. But we are starting there, so, and then after that we will move into the homebrew and explore some of the threads that are laid out during Edge of Darkness, but most importantly, the backgrounds of our characters as they are pushed to the limits, as they begin to peel back that Umbral Veil and see what is behind it. So this story, Edge of Darkness, does take place in Arkham, Massachusetts in 1923. We'll try our best to be era appropriate, but we'll definitely have some inconsistencies. So again, like the rules, kind of bear with us. I was reading, as I was watching some Call of Cthulhu campaigns in preparation for this, there were a bunch of comments like, well, the Empire State Building wasn't built yet. Like, okay, come on, time out, like, relax, we'll be okay. So just bear with us, we'll get there. We're going to start off with a roll here. I prepped the players. We're going to lead with a roll because this is going to determine how you are introduced into this scenario. They have all been prepped leading up to here, that they got a letter from a particular friend of theirs from the past, Mr. Rupert Merriweather, was calling them to come visit him in Arkham, Massachusetts, because he is on his deathbed. He is struggling with, towards the end of his life, and he wants to touch base with you all before he passes. So you are all arriving. Some of you live in Arkham. Some of you are coming from afar, and we'll get into those specifics here in a minute. But you all have to arrive at the hospital at a certain time, and you are all heading to the it's St. Mary's Teaching Hospital. It's next to Miskatonic University, the famous university here in Arkham. This hospital is known for being on the cutting edge of new services and medical procedures. So it's a good place to be, maybe, but we're going to see who arrives first. So go ahead and give me dex rolls. Lowest roll is going to win here.
Oh gosh, we all did so amazing.
So go ahead and call it out for me. What you guys rolled?
86 out of 90.
Oh, ouch! It's a
We got
success, but
32 versus
86, 32,
36 versus 40.
36. Teddy,
64 versus 55.
Brandon, you are going to be the first that arrives here at this hospital. As you're walking up to it, it is a big brick building, multiple floors. From what you could tell from the outside, at least 3 floors above ground. And you definitely see the front door going in. And as you walk through those double doors, you do see a receptionist there. And you are here to see Mr. Rupert Merriweather. So why don't you, before you interact with anything here, give us the name and profession of your character and a brief description of them.
So my character's name is Archimedes Lovewell, but most people just call him Archie. And growing up, he was driven to psychiatry because his mother suffered from what we would now call bipolar disorder, and not only that, but he also just had a studious disposition. So he just went through university and studied that because he basically had that sort of thing really affect his family. So, but yeah, and where Rupert comes into all this is that my character met Rupert at university, and
Okay.
Rupert became kind of a mentor and a friend to him. So
Okay, great. Yeah, give us a description of kind of your build, what you look like, what you're wearing.
oh yeah, well, it's definitely not a blue T-shirt because that's not period appropriate. No, but just a simple, clean button-up shirt with vest. That's his usual go-to. And slacks. He's also really kind of like thin, lanky guy, kind of about 6 foot, not heavy set in the least. Kind of a regular haircut. He's really not much of a fussy guy as far as like style goes. He's much more interested in being studious and scientific. That's why he kind of entered the field he did.
Nice.
Yep, and I think that's about it, unless I'm missing something.
No, you got it,
that
man.
Folks would like to hear.
No, so as you're approaching, you walk up, you do see a little like information board off to the side. You do see a receptionist.
So can I approach her and ask?
Yeah.
And start role playing here. Or?
Yeah. Let's jump in.
So if I look at the board, probably see Rupert's name somewhere or room numbers. But I go up to the receptionist and just introduce myself. I'm Archimedes. I'm looking to visit Rupert Merriweather.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I believe you can go right up. Do you know where he's at? I can look it up for you.
That would be lovely. Thank you.
Yeah, and she pulls out this big kind of ledger and starts flipping through the pages. Merriweather. Oh, here it is. He is in room 315. So that's going to be, you go right up these stairs, up 2 flights up to the 3rd floor, and room 315. So you're going to go left at the top.
Thank you.
Not sure if he's taking visitors at the moment, but there is seating outside that you can definitely have a seat and wait.
I will knock for sure.
Great.
Thank you.
Great. And Archie, as you're going up, you see this hospital it has like pale green tiles, and every 8 or 10 feet is a single light bulb that is kind of just burning in the middle of the aisle, kind of shedding light down onto the floors, reflecting that green, pale green back up onto the walls. It's very not inviting at all. Walls are
talking about the the tile on the floor is green, you're saying?
Yeah, tile on the floor is this light pale green, and that bulb that shines down reflects it right back up. So it's making the white walls on each side of you look the spectral kind of green that is coming up and wrapping around back up to the light. And as you're walking down, you get up to the third floor. You do see a long hallway. Each room is numbered, starting with 301 all the way down, as far as you can see. There are chairs, hard plastic chairs that are in between each of the doorways, and you make your way down. And certainly, soon enough, you do come up to 315. Door is shut. And there we're going to pause, and we're going to go to Kirk. Same thing. Go ahead and give me a description of your character, name and profession, and personal description as you are approaching into St. Mary's teaching hospital here.
You're muted, Kurt.
Yeah, you're muted there.
Hey, there we go.
There we go. Got it.
Hey, playing Lewis Holloway. He's a tall, gaunt Londoner, and he's an investigative journalist. Yeah, and he's come over from London to visit Mr. Merriweather.
So how do you know Mr. Merriweather? How have you crossed paths?
We've never exactly crossed paths per se. So Lewis was struggling to afford school back in London, and one day a mysterious letter came in the mail to his door, and it said study hard, and it was just a check signed for £1,500. So he's kind of kept in contact through letter with Mr. Merriweather ever since.
Great. Give me a personal description. What do you look like? What are you wearing?
Okay. Lewis, like I said, he's tall. He's 5'11". He's a little lean. He's got glasses. He's got somewhat poor eyesight. He's always kind of wearing, I would say, like middle class clothing. Simple pants and a shirt, maybe a little unkept. He's always busy. And he's got a bow tie, which I want to spiff this outfit up at some point in the future. So we'll see.
Nice. Yeah, so same thing as Archie. Before you walk in through, you do see the reader board on the side, or a little map and layout of the teaching hospital here, and you do see a woman sitting behind the desk.
Hello, is there a Rupert Merriweather here?
Oh, yes, of course. I know exactly where he's at. That's room 315.
Perfect. Could you point me in the direction?
Yeah. Can I ask? You're not the first one that came here for Rupert. Actually, in the last 10 minutes. Very, very popular guy, but just you don't see that very often. They either come all at once or not at all. But yeah, you're going to go up these stairs to the third floor, and you're going to take a left, and room 315 is where you'll find him. 315, yes. Like I told the last young man, don't know if he's taking visitors right now, but you can definitely sit outside. There is seating.
Perfect. Do you have any newspapers?
Yeah, and she points back behind you, like right at the entrance. There is like a little wire-framed newsstand. Yeah, that's the local Gazette there, the Arkham Gazette.
Perfect. I'll take my way up and take a seat.
Great. Yeah, and I assume you go pick up one of those newspapers.
Yeah.
Go up the stairs. Yeah, that same kind of green lit tunnel. Single light bulbs every 8 to 10 feet, just shedding. You can definitely see like a cone of light, and then there's a brief bit of shadow almost, and then the next cone of light drops down. And you just pass through them all, and you do see another young man sitting about halfway down, I would imagine. But we're going to pause there, and it's kind of fitting that both Typo and Jason rolled last because they do have a shared background, and I imagine you would come together. Correct me if I'm wrong. All right, so
Sounds good.
and I believe you two are going to be the only locals to Arkham, yes?
Of course, which is why we're arriving last.
Yes, of course. So we'll start with Jason. If you want to, I imagine you have your own car. You drove here.
Yeah.
Getting out of your car, approaching the St. Mary's Teaching Hospital. Give us a brief description of your name, profession, and what you look like.
Sure. I am Theodore, aka Teddy Mills. I'm a federal agent. I am heavy set, rather jowly. Definitely, uh, before he was scarred, had a face only a mother could love, and it has since been terribly scarred. Um, so now it's even worse for wear. He seems to have a scar on the left-hand side of his face, and he has a matching scar across the palm of his right hand and lower wrist, where it looks like there was some sort of explosion or something, and he got his hand up in time to cover his eyes, but not save his face. He wears a suit and tie almost all the time, although it is a cheap suit. He looks very G-man for the period, except that he also wears a bowler hat, and this is primarily to cover his balding and other portions of the scar that go further up into his hairline. And so he wears a hat to kind of hide those.
Great. I love it. And how do you know Mr. Rupert Merriweather? How have your paths crossed in the past?
Rupert and I have mutual membership in an organization. I don't know how secretive we're being about it, but he recommended me to the agency that I work for, and he kind of mentored me in and got me involved, hooked me up with Roy at some point in the past.
Nice. And that leaves us to Roy. Go ahead and give us a name, profession, and a brief description of what you look like.
Howdy, my name's Corduroy. Yes, it is a dumb name. I hate my dad sometimes. Corduroy hops out of probably the shotgun side of the car, and out pops a relatively short man, maybe 5'6", 5'7", corded with lean muscle, and a perpetually dirty clothing. Like, this is the kind of guy who every single set of pants he has grass stains or mud caked somewhere on it. He smells like the earth. He talks with a southern drawl. This man is unmistakably country. Some of the distinct non-country factors about him, though, are that he always wears a bandana over half of his face to hide the shrapnel scarring he got from Bad Grenade. Yes, we are scar buddies. That was completely unintentional. He also always wears gloves and a large silver cross that dangles around his throat, though no representation here.
It's all right. Great. So you two kind of circle around the car, meet up, walking up into the same steps that lead into this.
I'm going to grab a paper on my way in because I'm expecting a wait.
Okay. Yeah, you've been in these situations before. And you do see the same layout of the hospital. You see the same receptionist there as you guys walk in.
Oh, I forgot to mention what my profession is. Bodyguard.
Yeah, and how do you know, we kind of jumped the gun here. How do you know Rupert Merriweather? How have you crossed paths with him?
I met Rupert back in the agency. He took a shining to me. Eventually assigned me to watch over Teddy Mills. So we've had a solid partnership, don't you think, Teddy?
Very much so. Very much so.
Oh, of course. We're like two peas in a pod.
Great. So you guys do come in, and Teddy, you grab a newspaper on your way up to the reception desk.
Seeing as we're from here, I'm pretty sure I know what room he's in, so I'm just going to head right up to the room.
She kind of looks up from her, ledger, like, and then you just keep on going, and she's like, probably here for Mr. Merriweather. Roy, do you follow?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Yeah, you guys circle up into the third floor. You see two figures standing at the end of this hallway. Same green description as before. And here's where we're going to kind of get into, now that you're all kind of in in scene, we're going to get to some of the questions and kind of get into some backgrounds of you a little bit more than what we've been told so far, and then we'll have some time for you four to play in the role play together here in a second. Question I want to start off with for all of you is: do you have any strong ideals or beliefs? And we'll start with Brandon. We'll go in the same order as our dex rolls. Brandon, do you have any strong ideals or beliefs? I shouldn't say Brandon. I should say Archie.
Well, it's pretty clear that what matters most is just the accumulation of knowledge and making sure that we don't fool ourselves into believing silly things. And that's kind of what I've devoted my life to. So,
okay, getting rid of
nonsense.
Getting rid of the nonsense and down to what's real.
Am I speaking in character?
Yeah, you are telling me about Archie here. Yeah, for sure. We'll move over to Lewis. Any strong ideals or beliefs?
I have a strong belief in fate. Everything kind of happens for a reason. And this is, mostly due to the fact that I received that letter out of the blue, out of nowhere, and my life changed after that.
Okay. So this might lead to the second follow-up question. Are you superstitious? Does that fate lead to superstitions, or?
Not particularly. I mean, if I see something that might bring up some superstitions, and then possibly, but generally no.
All right. And that leads us to Teddy Mills. Any ideals, strong ideals or beliefs?
Strong ideals is that there is evil in the world and that it needs to be rooted out. And the greatest evil can't actually be destroyed, and so our best bet is to just keep it away from the rest of the world.
Okay. All right.
Keep the common man from understanding the great evils of the world.
Right. So where Archie is trying to peel back and get down to what the answers are, you're more like, no, we don't need to know that.
Right.
All right. That might be some clashes here.
What? In Call of Cthulhu, never.
Never. Corduroy, any strong ideals or beliefs?
Well, as you know, I am a man of the faith. I believe in Lord Jesus and Mary and to the side. But I'm also a real anti-nihilist. Like, Roy's pretty cynical in many ways, but he's also very much that, yeah, this is really terrible. Only one thing to do, but both go forward, though, so.
Awesome. Going back, Archie, do you have a significant person in your life? Somebody that means something?
Well, that would absolutely be my mother, who succumbed to her illness. The illness that forced my father to leave and forced me to trek out on my own. Before perhaps I was ready, but so it goes. Even though she's no longer, she's with us. She exists, but she isn't with us in the normal capacity that we would expect, unfortunately. But she is still so important, and again, a large reason why I pursued what I did.
Nice.
Also Rupert Merriweather, absolutely.
Of course. Sorry, I'm just adjusting your camera on stream just a little bit. Good. Moving over to Lewis. Any significant person in your life?
Not to steal from Archie, but my mother's very important to me. After my father passed and I had to go work at the docks for some time to support her, she really kept her chin up and was there for me. And I do care greatly for my father, but he has passed and that time has gone. I also have a a friend that I take with me everywhere. His name's Inoki, and he's a ball python, which he actually traveled with me across the pond. So
Yeah, I imagine TSA is not a thing back in the
Probably not
1920s.
like that.
So you're able to. We talked about this pre-stream. You were able to. Your python, your ball python, is accustomed to being in your satchel or side bag, whatever it is you have, and you were able to bring it in, and nobody's the wiser as you're rolling around with a python. I love it. Good. So that leads us to Teddy. Any significant people in your life?
Probably the most significant person is Corduroy over there, partner and drinking buddy, as it were. My mother has passed, kind of estranged from my father. He's out there somewhere, but we don't really speak. Outside of that, I've got a house cat that holds down the fort while I'm not home.
Yeah. What's the name? House cat have a name?
It's Cat.
Love it. Just enough to you appreciate him just enough. Why the cat? Why is that a significant?
It's before Roy was kind of assigned as my partner, as it were. The cat was kind of a stray that I fed accidentally by throwing trash out inappropriately, that then wouldn't go away. So I eventually just let it in the house and started feeding it purposefully. And so it hangs out, and I have the feeling that if I died in the house, it's definitely going to eat me. And it's definitely one of those cats that's like 3 pets, no more.
Yeah.
That's all I want. And he just keeps the place mouse free. We're silent companionship, as it were.
I love it. This is not D&D, but they do have familiars. It's great. That leads us over to Corduroy. Any significant person in your life? Pocket python or pocket weasel. Sorry, that was yesterday.
Yeah. So, of course, I think. Well, first off, I got a number of friends, and I care about them immensely. My boy Teddy here is one of my favorite, of course. However, I also do have family. My mom, and my pa. I mean, that family gets on your nerves every now and then, but I love them to death. Sometimes I want to strangle them, but that's normal. I also got a cousin that works around the area. He's currently off in another country handling some business, but we grew up together, and well, we're pretty close. Thick as thieves, you might say.
All right. Okay, that's our significant other or person in our life. I don't want to. I don't want to go that far. Going back to Archie, what's the most meaningful location in your life? Do you have a place, like a hangout, someplace that kind of centers you as you step inside?
The only place for me that would really count as such would be just the university. I mean, I really can't overstate how much I poured into my studies after the trauma of my childhood. So that just kind of
nice
focused me there.
And how long have you been out of university?
Well, not very long.
Okay.
In fact, it was just last year that that I knew Rupert well, and that he was such an integral part of my experience there. So
nice.
Not long at all.
What, as you're thinking about university, what kind of senses are triggered as you are, maybe getting in the headspace of the university? Any sounds or smells or sights come to mind?
Sure. Oddly enough, smell is a big one. Just the tones and texts, all of that,
nice.
All that paper, the acid in the paper breaking down.
Nice.
It got to those specific details that really kind of, gave my memories something to latch onto as they formed in my mind.
Nice.
So, yeah. And the sounds too, just the echoing in the halls, those simple things.
Yeah, yeah, and I imagine
helps.
those echoes of the hallway kind of came into your head as you were walking into this hospital. Same kind of a feel
Yep.
almost to it, where long hallways. Yeah, I like it. All right,
Yes, it's very similar.
Lewis, meaningful location.
I harken back to a time when I'd sit at St. James Park in London and just sit, observe, and take in the sight and observe people mostly. Try to see what they were up to, figure out their behaviors, maybe take some notes for a potential story. But it's nice, cool breezes, wonderful ponds, big, old, mature trees. Um, I miss it. And some nights when it was open, I would go to the Radcliffe Observatory and gaze at the stars and just kind of ponder life.
Nice. So, would you spend kind of AM in the park and then PM in the observatory?
When I had time, yes.
Nice. Yeah, same question. What kind of senses come out as you're in those two different locations? What are you feeling?
Oh, well, when I'm at the park, like I said, the breezes and the cool air and the sounds of people talking is very calming. It's something I'm used to as a journalist, just listening to people. And at the observatory, the silence of the place
Nice.
is really calming.
I like the contrast there, like the bustling talking and general maybe joy that is being had out in the park, and then that the quiet time there in the evening.
Right.
That's nice. Teddy.
So my mother's grave is one here in town. I like to visit when I'm having moral quandaries. Kind of talk to her and just ask her opinion on things. My routinely annual visit to freshen up the flowers at the site. But beyond that, my other probably big location that I would spend a lot of time is Aunt Lucy's. It's a local little greasy spoon. I like it primarily because Lucy treats everybody the exact same, which is shitty. And the people there mind their own business, so you can have a conversation at a table without having to worry about much in the way of eavesdroppers. Also, you have to order at the counter, so there's no waitress to come and bother you every 5 minutes about what you need. If you need something, you get up, you go to the counter, you get it, you come back and sit down.
Nice.
And so he appreciates this. He is probably in Lucy's for at least one meal every day that he's in town, because he is not a man that cooks.
Awesome. What is the meal, the go-to?
Fried chicken.
Fried chicken.
Hands down, yeah, fried chicken.
Yeah.
The place probably smells like cigarette smoke and old, fryers that need their grease changed.
Yeah.
That it's not the greatest food in the world, and that's not why Teddy eats here. I eat here because of the atmosphere, not the food.
Definitely stale oil in the air.
Yeah.
What's a side dish? So you get your fried chicken and
it's mashed potatoes.
Yeah,
or
easy.
rice, gravy on whatever it is.
Yeah, and
All
you
of the
can
gravy.
you can see in the gravy there's little flecks of cast iron that is coming off of the pan that they get to mix the roux up in to thicken the gravy, and it's got little black. If you're new to Aunt Lucy's, it looked like pepper, but you know better. It's a little cast iron. I like that. Corduroy, meaningful location.
Well, Fran, you know what they say. There's just no place like home. Every now and then I just harken back to when I was growing up in my village. I mean, it was a little boring at times, but there's just a feel about it that you can't quite find anywhere else. I remember old lady Miriam staring at us with her unblinking eyes when we were out playing, ever vigilant. I mean, seriously, never blinking. And I remember Miss Gertrude. She made the most wonderful meat pies whenever travelers came around, or at least when they left. And it was just, it was a quiet hovel off in the middle of nowhere, but, it was my home. It was comfortable. This whole city life, I mean, I chose to leave on my own, but some days I miss it.
Nice. Yeah. What kind of senses come over you when you're back there? You know, that warm fuzzy feeling.
Generally, comfort and security. Also, just like lots of fun days playing detective with my cousin, running around the town trying to figure out some of the mysteries and the folklore of the place. You know, we never found anything, of course. Well, never, it's not important right now. Never found anything when we were kids.
Nice. All right, going back, we're moving over back to Archie. What is a treasured possession of yours?
It's not. I don't. I'm not the sentimental kind, I'm afraid. And, I have my notes and books, but I have my, things from childhood and things from home. A teddy bear. I kept that for a while, but no, I don't. I don't find the need to keep those sorts of attachments. I let that go.
Okay. Is it because you like anti-clutter?
It suits me.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, anti-clutter, but also I'm very much looking to set a troubling past behind me, and much of what I have is connected, or much of what I had rather was connected to that. So
all right.
Best to just leave it behind.
Okay.
For the moment.
Are you worried about losing something? Like if you had a treasured item and are you worried about what it would be like if you lost it?
I mean, I suppose just the regular things that I have lying around.
All right.
But nothing that really sticks out.
Nice.
I'm just not that way.
Okay. Good to know. Yeah, if you don't keep anything, I can't take anything from you, right? Moving over.
That's a statement that can't change.
Moving over to Lewis. Do you have any treasured possessions?
I do. My snake is a pet and a possession. Love him, dear to my heart. I also keep a broken pocket watch from my father with a raven engraved on the front. I wear it like it normally would be in my breast pocket.
Mm-hmm.
And I also have my very favorite pencil that I brought with me, the Eversharp Wall. It's a silver-plated pencil. Love it. It's where I take all my notes during stories. So
nice.
Keep them all with me close.
What would happen if you lost that pocket watch?
I'd be devastated. I think it's the only memento I brought from London that reminds me of my father.
Okay. Wolf in chat is he's getting on my steam here. Yeah, so it's kind of one of the last possessions you have or memories, constant reminder of your father.
Yes.
All right. Like it. Good. Noted.
Yeah.
Teddy, what about you? Treasured possession.
So I guess my cat kind of falls in a treasured possession. I'd be upset one day if I came home and he wasn't there. I don't know how long it would take me to get over it, but there would definitely be a moment of panic of where's the cat, and what am I going to do with all of this cat food? But beyond that, I also have what I refer to as my burn files from my time with both the agency and the feds. Anything that I deemed or the agency deemed better to be kept out of my superior's hands, as it were, or things that were too close to the truth or maybe held little actual nuggets of the truth. I basically swept under the rug, and I have brought all those files home, and they hang out in a fire safe in my closet, mainly to never be touched ever again, unless some new case comes across my desk, in which case I need to reference
Gotcha.
previous case files.
Which files or cat? Which one would be more devastating to lose?
The files. Definitely the files. I can get a new cat,
Gotcha.
probably on accident. The files I would really, it would probably bring my whole life to an immediate halt until I found out what happened to them.
Again, noted. Moving over to Corduroy. Any treasured possessions?
Well, Corduroy turns to look at the closet that is this small like closet that is the entirety of all of his possessions. Well, I guess if I had to say a favorite possession, it'd either be my cross, or it would be he pulls out a sawed-off shotgun, my Ithaca model, hammerless, 10 gauge, double trigger, sawed-off shotgun. It's about 12 inches in length. Oh, and it has a pistol grip for convenience.
All right. Yeah. How would you feel if you lost either one of those?
Pissed off. Pissed the fuck off. I had to get this one custom made here.
All right. What would that look like in you trying to find it? Is no matter what's in your way, nothing's getting in your way, maybe?
Well, I don't know about nothing getting in my way. I think I can think of a few things that might get in my way, but I mean, well, they wouldn't get in my way if I had the shotgun. Shit.
Nice. I have like a really nice question to ask next that is just kind of fun. I almost wanted to skip it, but I think we need this from our investigators here. Moving back to Archie, what do you do to relax? Like, what is your kind of downtime, clearing of your headspace, a hobby maybe? What do you do?
I like to draw. Actually, I like. I've been keeping up with a lot of the new trends in art.
Okay.
I just love the idea of doing something abstract and expressionist, and I just find it really freeing from all of the because though I do appreciate my studies, and I that's my home, so to speak. It is liberating to go outside of that and do something just out of that wheelhouse as a way to relax.
All right, I dig it. Yeah.
And would it be all right? I was going to say, would it be all right if I changed my earlier answer?
No, it's
I didn't think
No change.
No, you can. Yes, you could definitely change it.
Dang it.
What would you like to change there, Archie?
Okay. The treasured items, because everyone has one.
Yeah. What do you got?
This would be a journal and fountain pen that were some of the first things I bought for myself when I set out on my own. And this is a very nice etched leather bound journal. The pages were bound by hand. Of course, everything was made by hand, but just with exceptional care. And that's just, again, when I'm talking about art being an escape from what I normally do in my normal headspace.
Okay.
Being in this journal is the same way for me, just in a different capacity. So
nice.
Losing that would be awful, because that's a repository for thoughts and feelings, and those aren't cheap. And I'm not going to. I don't feel like something that important should stick to cheap pulp, as it were.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense.
So do you keep your clinical notes in the same journal as your drawings?
Oh no, those go on just more regular-ish or standard paper.
Okay.
No,
Gotcha.
This extra nice material is
Gotcha.
just for me.
Gotcha.
For me.
Love it. Moving over to Lewis. What do you do to relax?
Back in London, I favored time hiking. The rolling hills outside of London are beautiful, and I take time alone just to get out and see the countryside. And I'm very excited to be over here in America, where there's some actual mountains to hike and climb.
Yeah, you've probably heard. I don't know if, again, here's where we may get into some issues. But you've heard of the Appalachian Trail, kind of on that eastern side of the America, and yeah, it might have your interest piqued a little bit. I like it. So do you do this often? Is it a weekly thing, or?
Weekly. Yeah.
Okay.
It's my main form of exercise outside of just walking around town.
Nice. Love it. Moving over to Teddy. Anything you do to relax? Hobby?
Teddy breaks the law regularly. When he's not at Aunt Lucy's in the evenings, he can be found in a speakeasy somewhere enjoying illegal gin.
Yeah. Yeah, like that's one thing we will stick to. Time period is alcohol is forbidden. So good. How'd you come to that activity? Like, not just breaking the law, but not just drinking, but this idea of wanting to break the law.
Well, I think it was less about wanting to break the law and just feeling that this particular law was irrelevant and unnecessary. Teddy was drinking before Prohibition. It's a fairly new law in his mind. You know, it's only been enacted in the last 3 or 4 years. So as someone who drank prior to Prohibition, it was really just a matter of, well, I'm not going to stop just because that's the rule. And seeing as he works with the feds, as it were, finding a speakeasy is not a difficult task, nor is getting himself a bartender, as it were, while in the establishment.
Yeah.
It is probably unlikely, or very likely, that more members of the federal force all visit some of the same speakeasies for their routine gin. And the, you know, I don't want to say he's not mobsterish in the sure would be a shame if, but he doesn't make any bones about the fact that he is a federal agent while he's there. So.
Nice. I love it. Corduroy, any hobbies? What do you do on your downtime?
Well, to be completely honest, I'm probably right there next to him drinking.
Totally.
Yeah. Where I started my habit, well, when I joined the police force back in the day, me and the boys would occasionally go down and get a pint.
Uh-oh.
That habit hasn't. What?
There we go. We lost Kirk there for a second. You are now in typo spot. And you're in my spot. And that's okay. So we'll pause there for a second. Looks like he's coming back on.
Okay.
Go ahead, typo. You can finish your. Don't know what happened, but we're back.
Well, back in the old days, when I was working on the force, I would generally go and, have a pint with the boys. And that hasn't changed much. I mean, sure, it's illegal now, and technically I was once an officer of the law, and, I'm pretty sure they're still drinking over there, too, so I ain't gonna stop. Oh, but when I'm not drinking to relax, I'm generally just lounging around, much like a cat.
And that's what Teddy loves about you so much. All right, moving on. I think that's it for the open questions like this. We're going to get into a game of Never Have I Ever, but I do want to pause for a second and kind of shake it out a little bit and say, hey, everybody in chat, thank you for being here and listening to us talk about this, and thank you, Cosmic Dice, the podcast, for the follow just now. Good time to follow. I should say, if you are in the chat and you haven't hit that follow button, please do. That way you know when we go live. That way you can help us get to 1,000 followers. We are one follower closer. Also, we will have channel points coming in to play as we get into the actual game. Again, this is session 0 where we are learning about these investigators. All right, we're going to get into some Never Have I Ever. So you're going to raise your hand if you never have done these things, and we're going to point and laugh at you and ridicule you. No, we won't do those things. But we will kind of lead into some this is going to be more little quick fire conversation about whether you have done this or haven't done this. So the first one is never have I, and I should say before I get into this, I did steal this from Will from Encounter Roleplay. He did it for his Call of Cthulhu campaign. I thought it was rather fun, so I am doing it. I did not come up with this idea. I am definitely stealing it. So thank you, Encounter Roleplay. So never have I ever stolen something. So if you've never stolen something, go ahead and raise your hand. The one who breaks the law doesn't steal. Nice. So Teddy, go ahead and tell me about that. Why? Why haven't you stolen something?
Never felt it was necessary.
All right.
You know, he didn't come from wealth, but you know, his mother and father did instill a work ethic in him, and if you want something, you work for it and you pay for it.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Lewis, you haven't stolen anything either?
No, I tend to find myself to be a generally generous person. Try to, you know, good all towards everyone. Wouldn't want to steal from the common man either. So, no, just good boy over here.
All right. Nice. Archie, same thing. Never stolen anything.
No. There's also an element of pride. I mean, I'm a hardworking guy. I can get whatever I need.
Good.
Honestly.
So that leaves Roy, the only one who didn't raise their hand. What did you steal?
Guys are like, not knowing you're raising your hand, making the ex-police officer look like the bad guy here. Well, I mean, I don't know if I'd call it stealing per se, but I've definitely been known to commandeer some goods in order to complete a mission.
Right.
I mean, I've done worse than steal shit.
We'll leave that there. We'll save some of that for to come out later. So good. You're the rogue in the group. So next, never have I ever had stitches or had a scar. I know. So this, if you have never had stitches or you don't really have any huge scars. Wow. So everybody's had at least stitches. So raise your hand if you've had stitches. Let's see them. All right, everybody. And we know two of the characters have very prominent scars. Lewis, what was your stitches from?
So after my father passed away and I had to take work up at the docks, one day as we were bringing in some cargo, there was a box full of something I wasn't quite sure of, tripped over, and took a piece of metal at the bottom of my leg and got a couple stitches down there. Hurt quite a bit, but doing fine now. Walking still okay, so that's good.
All right. Easy to cover up. Okay, I like it.
Right.
All right, next one. Never have I ever betrayed someone. Never have I ever betrayed someone. So you're going to raise your hand if you've never betrayed anybody. Ooh. Carteroy. Let's start with you. Who'd you betray?
I don't know if he's intentionally. I'd have to leave it to a 50-50 of whether he's betrayed someone or not. His job has maybe required him to do it, but at the same time, he wouldn't want to.
Okay, so
if someone were to say, go too far, you know what? It's not that he has betrayed them. They have betrayed the organization, and he needed to escort them to the next life.
Gotcha. Well, that leads us into my next never have I ever. Never have I ever taken a life, or we can go less extreme here, gotten in a fight. So let's start with taking a life. If you've never taken a life, raise your hand.
I'm never going to get to raise my hand, am I?
All right. What about gotten in a fight? Can Archie and Lewis? Archie and Lewis, have you gotten in a fight? Maybe schoolyard, maybe.
Maybe a few pub brawls.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, nothing really serious.
All right. Archie, what about you?
Bugged in the street count, because that's what happened to me.
Yeah, if you fought back, for sure.
Well, folks here don't seem to take too kindly to a studious-looking gentleman minding his own business, apparently.
Gotcha.
I lost a good couple of books in that scuffle, but and they are not cheap.
Yeah.
No books.
Damn books. All right, and we'll kind of leave some.
I have the dignity of saying I fought back a little bit.
Good. It might come in handy later. We'll leave the mysterious taking of a life under wraps here for our two agents for right now. Next one. Never have I ever imbibed in an illegal drug. Alcohol is included. Never have I ever imbibed in illegal drugs. Alcohol included. So if you're straight-laced, teetotaler, Never. Ooh, all right. So here we go. Well, we heard from Teddy and from Roy. They kind of hit up the speakeasies. Lewis, what do we got going?
Well, you can't say no to a good London dry gin, can you?
All right.
You find it some places in London. Particularly, I used to go to a place called the Nightjar, get a few drinks, and I wouldn't say no to a few psychedelics if they were around.
All right. Have you taken any psychedelics, or you just have it on your, like,
It's on my
if I were
mind.
offered, I would.
There's something
Okay.
out there.
All right. All right. I like it. Archie, what about you?
Well, I guess there's a few good things that I heard from my father. Was my propensity for these sorts of things. And it's funny you should mention tea, because if I happen to be by myself, at home, I do enjoy pouring in a little scotch with my tea. But I too, as many of you have apparently, gone to a speakeasy myself.
All right.
And a good pint or two is all right. And what were they called in the 20s? I should know this. Hash, or just cannabis of some kind. Only once, but it was all right.
Yeah. I mean, cocaine is.
It was all right.
I believe, rather prevalent.
Pretty sure you can just get that at the drugstore.
Yeah,
without
that's
a
kind of
prescription.
over the
So,
counter. So that's not illegal. So yeah, we're
can't
all
buy
It
gin.
really meant
but
something back in the day.
we're all coked out, but we can't. have
Heroin's a
alcohol.
name brand, sir.
All right, all right,
We haven't done any hard drugs, okay? Then I can raise my hand.
all right. Let's get serious here. Never have I ever been in love. If you've never been in love, raise your hand. I got Roy to raise his hand at least once. Oh, Teddy, what's going on, man?
Teddy has been big and ugly for the majority of his life.
Sorry.
Never found the attentions of women easy to come by. And as soon as he got old enough to actually be involved in working or his education, that's where all of his energy and focus went. Was first in education, then it was into his job with the feds, and now it's with the agency.
All right.
He doesn't have time he's got a cat. That's enough.
Lewis. Why?
I think it's. I have a hard time speaking to women outside of being professional. If it's not for a story, I think I struggle a little bit. The nerves get to me, and I just can't. I can't do it. I've tried to fall in love. Just quite haven't found it yet, I suppose.
All right. Soon, Lewis. All right. Last one. Last never have I ever. Never have I ever witnessed something out of the ordinary, magical, or occult. Never have I ever witnessed something out of the ordinary, magical, or occult. So if you've never witnessed those, go ahead and raise your hand. All right, it's a 50-50. I think with the agency kind of in the middle, not sure. Teddy, you revealed earlier that you've kind of seen some of that. You have some files, and you're into pushing it into the back of the closet, so to say. What,
Roy.
Teddy? What exactly did you see? Do you know?
The thing that I witnessed personally was, for lack of a better term, Teddy just refers to it as the spontaneous human combustion event. It's what left him scarred. He was tailing a suspect in an attempt to apprehend and question, and then they just exploded into a huge ball of fire, leaving nothing behind but a smoldering shoe. And Teddy doesn't have a non-irrational explanation for how that occurred. Like, there's no, he's gone through all of the science. Like, this is kind of his job, investigative stuff, and he can't put together any normal string of events that would have, caused that to happen.
Nice. Is this event something you bring up easily in conversation, or do you keep this close to the vest?
It's usually pretty close to the vest. He's probably talked to Roy about it a time or two, particularly under the influence. But if it's definitely one of those things that if someone's like, "Where'd you get those scars?" He's not like, "Well, there was a man that exploded on fire with no."
All right.
He's not going out of his way to tell that story to
Nice.
folks.
So you probably have a few canned excuses
House fire,
for this.
Mom spilled
there you
boiling
go.
water on me when I was a baby.
Nice.
Yeah.
Roy, you were 50-50 on whether you've seen something out of the ordinary.
I had to change that. It's an absolute yes.
Okay.
Roy has seen the ordinary. I was thinking, has Roy had a proper encounter with a monster? That's a 50-50. But something interesting, Teddy. You probably would have another encounter of the supernatural. In the form of, you probably know why Roy wears gloves all the time. I'm not going to go any further detail on it
All right.
at the moment.
All right.
But
it's good to
yeah.
keep things.
As for the things that Roy's seen, his job has required him to be near the occasional supernatural incident, and even though he has not directly interacted with many of the incidents, when you're close by enough, sometimes phenomena happen. Shadows look a little longer than they should be. That sort of thing.
All right. I like it. And for Lewis and Archie, we'll change that real quick. You'll be able to keep that hand down next time.
Get those sanity rolls ready.
Yeah. All right. So that's it for the questions that I had to kind of figure out a little bit more about our investigators. We're going to cut back into scene now and get put on our role-playing hats here. And Archie, you are sitting in one of the chairs across the door, 315, and out of the corner of your eye, you see another man walking down the hallway. That would be you, Lewis. You two are now converging. And you can clearly see that he's sitting across from 315, the room that you are coming up to see.
I practically pop out from behind Teddy's girth and was like, "Howdy!"
Not you, Roy. You're not there yet. We'll get there. This is.
I thought you said Lewis.
Yeah, this is Archie sitting. Lewis is coming.
Lewis is coming. Sorry, I was out for like 30 seconds. I had no idea what happened. But I heard no audio.
Walking up towards me.
Oh,
in the hallway.
okay. And you're sitting. Okay.
Yeah. So I say to you, "Are you here for Mr. Merriweather?"
I am. Are you?
And then I look back to the door and I say, "It would appear so."
Peculiar. Well, are we waiting? Can we go in? I'd like to see him as soon as possible.
I knocked, but then a nurse walked by and told me to wait. So,
well then.
So I think so. I'm. But you feel free. I motioned at the door. Feel free.
Yeah. Can I give the door a knock and see what happens?
Yeah. As you get up to reach for the handle, the door actually opens before you get there, and out walks a what you would assume is a doctor wearing the white robes and clipboard in hand. Oh, excuse me. You're here for Mr. Merriweather?
I am. Is he in there?
Yeah,
I am too.
Oh, good. Yeah, he's not doing too great, and he kind of glances down at his notes a little bit. But yeah, definitely, you might want to give him a minute or two. They're kind of, his wife and son are in there, and they're having a time together. So maybe hold off just a minute.
I'll respect that. Yes.
And he continues out the door, closes it behind him, and heads down towards Teddy and Roy that are coming up down the hallway as well. And you see, you two can see that interaction. And looking ahead, you're kind of counting the doors a little bit. You can tell that's 315.
Are there any more open chairs down there, or are all the seats full up? across from 315 or next to 315?
Yeah, they're in banks of 3. So in between each door, there are about 3, sometimes 4 if they can squeeze it in. But it's mostly 3 hard plastic chairs. Right now, I don't know if Archie stood up, but he was the only one seated. So there are some that you can see.
Yeah, no, I stood up.
Okay.
So
Then yeah, there's 3 open chairs.
I'm just going to go and sit down in one of the chairs and pull my paper out and begin reading the paper.
All right, Roy, you are with him. What are you
I
doing?
know he's out from behind him. Howdy, fellers.
Oh,
Good
hello.
evening.
Are you here to see Rupert as well?
Absolutely, I'm here to see the old dog.
Friend?
Oh, yeah. A friend of a few years. What about you?
I'm
Y'all know
coming
him
for-
long?
Known him for some time, 4 or 5 years now. He's been a good pen pal over the years, and he told me to come visit, so I took the boat ride over.
Oh, you're from one of those foreign countries. Which one?
Yes, from a foreign one. Yes, I'm from London, England. Across the pond.
Everybody knows America is the only country that exists.
Right.
I love
okay.
London. Oh, yeah. I've been there. Terrible food, but nice place.
Terrible food. Are you
Oh, yeah,
disrespecting
terrible
my
food.
home country's food?
Absolutely.
Have you had fish and chips, sir?
He gives you a broad smile at that.
Uh,
Oh, I see. We're just playing games, right? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, your food's terrible too. Okay.
As
I know.
as you two are kind of having this conversation and Teddy's seated, Archie, you're kind of on looking down the hallway. Actually, in front of you, Roy, you can see a couple orderlies pushing a bed cart with a body that is draped, and they are running towards you. And you hear one of the orderlies, "Get out of the way, please! Out of the way!" And they're trying to get past you.
Holy. Okay. What was
They
that?
move.
Yeah, so you guys kind of move out of the way and then come rushing by, and they kind of turn a corner and out of your sight. At this, you do hear
that?
inside the room now. You hear some kind of big inhales of breath and some heavy sobs, and then you hear the door begin to open, and you see a 30 in his 30s. You see a man. He definitely has some of the characteristics of Rupert, some of the the same jawline, nose, ears, and such. You can tell it's definitely a relation, but he's definitely a little more weasel-like. He's got kind of, it's more pointed features, and he's got eyes about him that just don't seem right, and he pops his head out. You must be the 4 my father sent for.
Indeed.
Correct. That's true.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I guess it's time for you to come in, and he wants to talk to you all. He said you'd be here. I don't know how I feel about this. Mom is definitely not in a place for guests, but father insists on it. So I guess come in.
Thank you.
And he kind of
Your father's a great man. I have nothing but the highest respect for him. And I reach out to hold his hand, me.
he begins to reach out his hand, like going to shake, but you were definitely coming in for like a comfort, and it's this kind of weird, awkward moment for a second. No need. Anyways, yeah, just come on in. And he steps aside, holds the door open, and he kind of, with his other hand, pulls back the curtain that is closed off in there. And as that curtain pulls back, you see an aged woman sitting next to Rupert Merriweather in one of those same hard plastic chairs that are in the hallway. Kind of eyes really red, handkerchief up at her face, kind of wiping both tears and snot as it's coming out. And she's very distraught seeing her husband like this. You see Rupert, and some of you haven't seen him for a long time or ever seen him. And you see a man that is very gaunt, very pale, and definitely looking rough. Same kind of reddish around the eyes and around the mouth, and kind of almost struggling to inhale. And you guys begin to walk in. There you are, all of you. Come in, sit. And he tries to sit up, and quickly his wife Agnes goes and kind of puts her hand on his shoulder and keeps him down. Yes, okay. I'll stay. Come in. There are a few chairs around the outside, but not enough for everybody to sit.
I'll stand.
I'll stand. Yeah.
Okay. Royal stand.
Bertrand, his son, comes in and sits, takes one of the seats in the corner, and he's kind of staring out the window mostly. If you try to catch eyes with him, he's not really making any contact. Well, Teddy and Roy, how was the drive?
Fair enough.
It's been
Much better than I did it.
He tries to laugh a little bit, and some like greenish bile comes kind of spilling out, and his wife quickly grabs her handkerchief and wipes it up. Be gentle, dear. You can't laugh right now. Oh, Archie,
Rupert,
it's been a while.
it's so good to see you.
How's your travel?
Oh, easy.
Good.
Very easy.
Good. And then we have Lewis.
Rupert, it's so nice to finally see you. It's just very unfortunate that we have to meet under these circumstances. You've been a good friend.
I definitely would have hoped you made it over here, or I made it there before this moment. But I'm glad you are here. It's good to see you. Good to see you finally. And you can tell he's really struggling now. Like just those few sentences of kind of like are starting to drain him. Go ahead, Roy.
Roy will also give just a probably customary, imaginary tip of the hat to the wife, because given that they've lived in the same area, I imagine he's probably seen her too.
Yeah, for sure. She comes out every now and then, picks up groceries, gets food. You definitely, I'm sure you two keep in contact, regularly. So yeah, she definitely recognizes both of you. But really just like staring at Rupert on the bed. And he goes, Agnes and Bertrand, if you could please leave the room for a minute and let me talk to these four gentlemen. That would be great. And Agnes like takes his hand and kind of pats the backside of it, the backside of his palm. Stay in bed and don't talk too much. And she then looks up to the four of you. Don't let him go into one of his stories, okay? Just keep it short, please. And she looks back at Rupert, and she begins to walk out, and Bertrand kind of catches her, and they meet at that same point, and he's kind of consoling his mom, not saying anything, but they do leave the room and close the door. Oh. They've been at my side all day. Didn't think they'd ever leave.
I say, sir, you look like shit.
And he coughs a little bit more, and you can see that's the same green bile start to kind of come at the corner of his mouth.
I'll get a handkerchief out and kind of take up Agnes's role and, blot the side of his mouth there.
He tries to bring his hand up to kind of console yours. Oh, thank you, Teddy. Anyway, yeah, go ahead.
Rupert, what's wrong? What, do they know what's wrong with you?
Oh, these damn doctors, they can't. I don't know. They say this is a hospital of teaching, but they haven't learned anything. They can't say. And he'll he'll pull down his the blanket that is on top of him and pull aside his like nightgown. And as he does that, you see what looks to be like when bread begins to mold. You see that starting to like almost his whole torso is just covered. It's this furry greenish kind of stuff, and it's starting to go down his limbs. You can't really see too much of it there, but it is creeping up to his neck now that he's kind of pulling it all away. They don't have any idea what this could be. Some kind of fungal infection that's gotten into my lungs, I think.
You were an entire fungus. What is going on?
I don't know, son. I wish I did. They're doing labs and studies, but I'm just glad you all came here. I have a favor to ask of all four of you, and I chose you four because I knew you'd be up to the task taking care of this for me. It's something that has to be done because I am going to die, and it has to be done shortly thereafter. So, if you wouldn't mind, I know my wife said no stories, but I got one last story to tell you. In my youth, I and some fellow students became involved in what we believed to be an innocent exploration of the occult, led by a slightly older man named Marion Allen. The six of us, there were six in total, we all purchased an old farmhouse a few miles west of Arkham, near the village of Ross's Corners. There we could conduct seances and other physical research in privacy. It was a place for us to be. Alas, our work had unforeseen results. Our last experiment summoned an evil force into this world. Don't roll your eyes. I see it. It's okay. This exists. Our last experiment summoned this evil force. Instead of attempting to expel this thing from this world, we were afraid the abandoned old house, confident that we were afraid, and we left this place. We left this house confident that the magic that brought the evil into this world would also keep it confined in the vacant house, or at least send it back after a short time. However, I have since discovered that the spell binds the entity to the house lasts only long as the casters live. And unfortunately, I'm the last of the group, and I fear that upon my death, the thing will go free and wreak havoc on the folks thereabouts. I am too old and too ill and too much a coward to go back to that house and try to banish the entity myself. As you can see, I can't even get out of this bed. Gentlemen, I am guilty of many things, but my deepest sin was unleashing that horror that fateful night. I'm convinced the entity will escape its confinement on my death, which unfortunately is very soon. Roy, if you could pick up that, and he kind of picks up his hand a little bit and points to the back. There's like a dresser behind you, and there's a tin box on there. Take that box right there, Roy. Bring it here.
Roy does. Much of the mirth that Roy generally has left his face as he walks over to the case and picks it up, brings it over, and places it before the man.
Thank you. All the aid I can offer you lies within this box. You have to find the courage to send that thing back where it came from. You must see that this is done. Do this for me, please. And as he gets those last words out of his mouth, out of his airway, you see some more of that green bile start to come out. And he begins coughing uncontrollably. And he starts to spasm and almost like he can't breathe. and that greenish bile begins to pour and pour and pour out of his mouth until
Roy
Go ahead.
suddenly turns around, runs to the doorway,
okay.
and opens it to try to find the wife and son or a doctor.
If you have your character sheet open, you can give me a luck roll.
Okay.
And that so you want to get under your score, whatever your percentage points are for the luck roll. And if you succeed, there will be a doctor out there, but if not, there will not be.
Okay. 40 out of 60.
All right. So yes, you do see that same doctor that passed you in the hall is now making his rounds back. You see Agnes and Bertrand sitting on those same hard chairs across the way. What's everybody else doing as he's really struggling here?
I think that Lewis is probably a little weak at the knees right now. He's not super used to a hospital setting at all, and very comfortable, and does not believe really what's going on at the moment.
Okay.
So maybe he takes a seat and just kind of tries to
All right.
take some deep breaths.
Teddy?
Teddy is going to collect the box from the bed there.
Okay.
Just to keep it out of the doctor's way, as he's certain that the doctor is on the way in.
Okay.
And also to kind of he fold. How big is the box?
It's yay big. Bigger than a shoebox, but it's probably 12 by 12 ish.
He folds his newspaper around it and tucks it under his arm.
Okay. Yeah, and as I imagine, you got to kind of turn it on its side, and as you do hear some. There's something dense in there, as well as a couple other things, but you can't really make out. Is Archie okay? Did we lose him? He's frozen on my end.
He looks frozen to me.
He's
as
frozen.
Well,
Well, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and have.
there he goes.
There we go. Let's go have Let's have Lewis, Teddy, and Archie give me a sanity roll.
Oh, really? We got
Because as he
like
is
this already.
yeah, the name of the game, my man. So as he is struggling, the convulsions stop, and you see.
See, I just
So Teddy, you failed. It looks like Archie failed, but Lewis, you succeeded. So you see this body begin to lose all life in it, and he is then laying still. And during his convulsions, the bed blanket and his robe have now opened, and you can see the whole of his torso is just covered in this greenish mold that is now, going down his arms and up into his neck, and it goes down underneath where the blanket stops. You can't really tell how far. So Archie and Teddy, you're going to lose 1 point of sanity, so you can minus that off your character sheet.
Temp or permanent?
That's going to be a permanent loss.
Lose a temporary as well.
Yeah.
Or would I go into edit mode here real quick?
Let's see how this looks in. Yeah, I think you have to go into edit mode.
Okay.
So there's a little tab at the top right, edit mode, and you're going to minus 1 from your sanity. So it would go, so in Lewis's case, it's 70 out of 70. I believe the permanent stays. So let me rephrase this, Teddy. You're going to lose the number off the left side. So in Lewis's case, he would have 69 out of 70 because you can gain that back. You haven't lost it completely yet.
So I went to 43 out of 53.
Yeah. So there we are.
45.
Roy, you don't have to make one yet, and because you missed out on this, you're out of the room. But you do hear more rustling, and then that rustling stop. Doctor is coming in. Agnes and Bertrand are standing up. Huh, what's going on? What's happening?
Roy quickly comes up to the doctor first. Medical emergency and room. He just gestures with his toothpick. That one.
Yeah, that would be 350.
And he turns to the other two, and then gives them with his one eye, he gives them the look of concern.
Yeah, so they all kind of fill in the room. Agnes definitely like weaves her way in and pushes anybody in her way out of the way and kind of gets into Rupert's face and starts to like kind of shake him awake. Doctor goes around the side, gives the pulse check. Well, we knew this time was coming. You could see him just kind of doing damage control at this point, like. He's pulling up the blanket and kind of closing his robes. If you four gentlemen wouldn't mind maybe stepping out and letting family have a second here, we greatly appreciate it.
Of course. And I immediately leave the room.
Roy's still standing outside the door. He's leaned against the wall like a cool guy with his toothpick, just kind of messing with it.
All right.
Archie's kind of just freaking out because he had such an abysmal sanity score. He's just, what, and then, he eventually has the sense enough to like leave, but he's definitely like having a moment.
Okay.
I'm gonna actually reach into my pocket and pull out a card and hand it to whoever's closest between Rupert's son.
It would probably be
or his
him.
wife.
Wife is like consoling Rupert, is down like in the mess.
Right.
Doctor went to the other side, so it would be Bertrand.
I'll hand him a card and just say, if there's anything you guys need, please don't hesitate to reach out. But I don't think we're going to be of much further assistance to you here today.
I think he kind of snaps it out of your hand a little bit. I think we're done here, and he almost like grabs your elbow and is getting ready to usher you out. One quick second. What's that box there? That was my father's. You're not taking it, are you?
Yes.
Was that his wish? That's what he had us come out of this room for?
Part of it.
Okay. And he looks at your card again. Okay. And he then begins to continue his ushering you out of the room.
I immediately, turn heel and head out. I don't make it difficult or anything.
He closes the door right behind you. And all four of you are now out in that hallway again.
Gentlemen, what the hell was that? Never heard, never seen, never experienced anything like that in my entire life. I'm just utter dismay, shock.
I'm still freaking out. Like, how did,
and I just keep going on like that for a second.
Just take him.
And I kind of grab him like, how did?
Well, we'll get this all figured out. I promise. Gentlemen, you seem a bit more relaxed than we are. Do you know what's going on here?
Well, for starters, that was a friend dying, and no, you don't actually ever get used to it.
Okay.
But the second part, well, I'm afraid I ain't a doctor, but maybe you can ask one of these medical professionals around here. Maybe they'll know something.
I'll make sure to do that. Because that was quite unbelievable. I've seen infections before, but nothing like that.
I didn't see too much of what happened at the end. I knew something was going wrong, but I had to get the doctor. What happened?
If anybody wants to give me a first aid or a medicine roll, you can do that.
Okay.
And again, in Call of Cthulhu, you have a percentage score. You're trying to roll under your percentage. I'm going to say this will be a hard success. So at the top of your character sheet, you'll click the hard tab. And then
Did someone already
go ahead and roll that.
take that, or
Everybody can roll it.
okay?
If you'd like. If you have no skill in it, I'd probably say you know,
Yeah.
there's really not a reason for you to roll.
Wow.
But you can.
Not great.
So that's a failure for Teddy. Failure for Lewis.
We should probably read off the
Yeah. If you guys would, as you roll them.
Okay. Lewis had a 68 versus 15.
I had 82 versus 15 for first aid.
Yeah. It looks like, where is, sorry. Archie had a 71 versus 15, and did you roll, Roy?
Yep.
should I roll? Because I
No,
left the room.
Yeah, no, well, you're all outside now in the hallway. You never saw it, so we'll say no, you don't get to roll. Yeah, none of you have ever seen this before, but all three of you that rolled, you can check that box next to whatever you rolled, whether it was first aid or medicine, because you will be able to upgrade those, possibly upgrade those at the end of the session. That's how leveling works in this system. If you fail a roll, you get a check mark next to it, and then at the end of the roll, you get to attempt to make that roll again. And if you fail the roll again, then you get to roll a d10, add those 10 points, up to 10 points to that skill. So none of you can really kind of pinpoint what you saw. It's very out of the ordinary, so to say. So you're all standing in this hallway, kind of gathering yourself again. What would you like to do?
Can we see what's in that box?
Say, did we?
Anyone curious to see what's in the box?
We
He leaves
can
us-
see what's in the box, but we should move out of the hallway, perhaps down to the cafeteria or parking lot. This is probably not the place to open this box.
Trust your judgment. I'm just very curious to see what's in that box set. You never mentioned anything about giving me, or giving us, I suppose, any items.
Yeah. Well, getting out of here would probably be the best idea. I'd like not to be run over by a stretcher.
And as you say that, you do see those same two orderlies coming back your way. Empty stretcher this time, and you can put two and two together and know where they're coming.
Yeah, is there cafeteria at this hospital?
There is. It's you would keep heading down the hall and then probably hit the stairs on the backside of there, bring you to the backside of the building, first floor. You would know this for being kind of a resident here, being here before. There is a cafeteria.
I'll kind of nod my head in that general direction and say cafeteria's down the stairs and start walking in that direction.
Yep, I'll
Say,
follow.
how can you eat after that? I'm still frazzled. How can you eat after that?
I didn't say anything about eating, but I could go for a cup of coffee and maybe a cigarette and,
Some tea sounds nice.
a little more private place than the middle of the hall to look through whatever this man's last possessions to assist us were.
Right.
As you guys are making that decision,
Tea as well.
Doctor pops his head out of the door, waves the two orderlies that are coming. They're barreling for you if you guys start to head back towards the end of that hallway, down two flights of stairs. And you do see cafeteria. It's afternoon, so it's not packed. It's post lunch, so a couple janitorial staff kind of cleaning some tables. You do see a couple doctors sitting together, drinking some coffee, hanging out. But there are plenty of tables.
Yeah, I'll go grab a cup of coffee and
Yeah.
and find a table a little further away from most folks.
Okay.
I'll follow right behind Teddy. I'm actually thirsty. I'll get some tea.
Yeah.
See.
Yeah, easy enough to do. There is a couple stations set up with some fresh coffee, as you know, they keep everybody well caffeinated here. And the way money works in here is you just have X amount of dollars that you can spend, and I'm sure a cup of coffee is in the budget of all of us, so we don't have to track dollars here. We just roll with it. If there's a big expenditure, we'll kind of get into the accounting side of things. But coffee, you're able to do, and you go back, you sit at the table. So you're all four are around, kind of steel table. It's got the seats they have like that vinyl wrap over this red and kind of marbled underlayment. It looks like linoleum almost. That if you were wearing shorts or it was a hot day and you get a little sweaty, you would definitely stick to it. You sit down all at this steel table.
Man, you gotta really appreciate hospitals. They go out of their way to make sure that the last place you ever see is the most uncomfortable place too. I say like sit in one of these steel chairs, like.
I agree. Could we just
You're
please
mad
see what's
class, I
in
see.
the box?
So I'm going to set the box down and pick up my cup of coffee with one hand and take a drink of coffee as I open the box with the other hand. Very much like this is not out of the ordinary.
Okay. Yeah, the metal tin box sits on the tin table with a clang, kind of drawing the eyes of some of the other people there, as it is post lunch, kind of quiet in here, but they go right back to their conversations and their coffee. As you set this down, you do see there are some things in here. Obviously, it opens with a almost like a waft of dust, like this hasn't been opened in a while, in a few years for sure. You see a rolled up piece that is tied with a piece of twine, and a key is tied to it. You see another what looks like a letter in an envelope. There is something in there that catches your eye, and that is a sarcophagus shaped box, probably a foot long by 4 inches wide. And then the last thing you see is a very slim journal in this box.
Well, gentlemen,
See the journal?
you
Yeah,
seem to be the professionals. Do you have any idea where to start? I'd like to open the letter. It seems like the right thing to open. Maybe that was meant for us to read after his death.
I'll hand the letter over to Lewis.
Lewis, could I poke through the journal while you do that?
And I'll hand the journal over to Archie, and I will open the rolled up twine with the key.
Okay.
And I'm going to eye the sarcophagus shaped box and then just leave it in the metal box for the time being.
Oh man. You do see it does have some glyph carvings in it. It's very ornate, goldish in color, and you do leave that in there. So everybody has their trinket from the box, and this is where we are going to pause for tonight. As we've gotten through the intro to Edge of Darkness, you've gotten your task, you've gotten some of the tools that you may need to complete that task, but that is where we are going to pause, as we don't want to get too deep, as this is a session 0, but we did learn a lot about our investigators tonight. Looking forward to this. Some people are losing their shit already, and that's with 1 sanity point. I love it. That is a good way to play Call of Cthulhu, I think. So, with that, we are going to go through the bookend of our housekeeping. This is FeatherFall Tabletop. Thank you for hanging out with us for our new campaign that will be happening, and that is Call of Cthulhu Beneath the Umbral Veil. Like I said, we are starting with Edge of Darkness, moving into Homebrew. So thanks for hanging out with us. If you haven't hit that follow button, please do so. Let us let you know when we go live again. As we are quite often. I will share that schedule one more time. We are taking a little time off. You'll see us not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday will be the next time we stream. That'll be our Wild Mount homebrew game, D&D 5e, obviously. You can catch us. After that, we're back on schedule. We got a couple people taking vacations, but after that, we'll be back on schedule that you see on the screen. Thank you, everybody. The investigators tonight. We'll go around the horn one more time. We'll go reverse order. We'll start with Typo as Corduroy. Tell us who you are, where they can find you, what you got going, anything cool.
Hello, everybody. I'm Typo. You can find me on FeatherFall Tabletop and Polished Cryptid. I was playing Corduroy, and I'm just happy as a pig in slop today.
Awesome. That's great. And then we'll go to Kirk as Lewis Holloway.
Hey, yep, you can find me over on Twitter at WeSuckPod. I'm the DM for the We Suck D&D podcast. So yeah, come check us out over there and take a listen.
Yeah, check them out. They're doing great things over there. You guys met a Twitter goal the other day, right? Had a
We
giveaway
did,
going?
yeah. 500 followers. We do have a giveaway going right now. It's a Mimic dice box, so you can store all your dice in there.
All right, so go check them out. That's at We Suck Pod. All right. I feel a little dirty, but not that much. Moving over to Jason as Teddy Mills. Go ahead.
So yeah, I'm Teddy. I'm at FleshSmith on Twitter, but there's probably not a whole lot of reason to follow me unless you want FeatherFall updates when I remember to tweet that we're streaming. But find me on Discord. I'm happy to talk and chat there.
Awesome. That leaves us, last but not least, that would be Brandon as Archie Lovewell.
Hey, at the _ Sherrard. That's SHERRARD on Twitter. I retweet a lot of stuff. If you're the Instagramming variety, you could find me, right? You can find me at Greetings Dudes, all one word on Instagram, if that's a platform that you frequent.
Awesome. Thank
So,
you.
There you go.
Thank you, Brandon. I'm Chris. I'm 2socks05 on Twitter. Again, I only tweet and retweet about FeatherFall stuff. If you want to hang out with me on a more regular basis, that's weird to say, but check out the Discord down below. That'll get you access to any of our community one-shots that are coming up, anything, new campaigns that may be rolling out, and just in the general buffoonery that takes place down there. We'd love to have you in there. Again, last plug for hit that follow button if you haven't done so. We want to get that 1,000 followers here real quick, but thank you so much. Everybody, thank you for hanging out. And with that, I think I have an end screen. I'm going to go to that. I'm going to mute our mics. Have a good night. Have a good Tuesday. We'll see you when we see you again. Stay safe. Have fun. All the good stuff.
Bye, y'all.
Wear a mask. Wash your hands.
Yes.
That's it. I was going to say political rant over. It shouldn't be a political rant. It's just a way of life. But do it. All right. We love you. We'll see you.